Hi, I'm Hobbes Caltus, and you're watching The Underground Bunker on Bloodrock Media.
Now am I an asshole or are you just boring? Cause one of these two things must be true. Am I self-absorbed, preoccupied, and shockingly cunty? Or is there just nothing memorable about you? Well, even if I'm arrogant and totally suck, I'm still betting on the latter cause you're bland as fuck.
Welcome once again to another episode of The Underground Bunker. It is hustling and a bustling up in Casa de Hobbes because people are making me Mexican food, and I fucking love Mexican food. You know what else I fucking love? Punk music. This is an all punk music episode. Let's do a fucking show. This week I'm actually going to start the show off with a band from my neck of the woods. They've actually introed the show before, and they are called Size 5s. So these guys are a four-piece punk band from my neck of the woods right here in Milwaukee, and they got their start in 2015. Now that's not that long ago, but these guys, like many other punk bands, have played scads of shows. And the cool thing about the punk scene here in Milwaukee is it's managed to retain its undergroundness. So we still have tons and tons of basement shows and very grassroots venues. There's one place called Kochanski's where I've seen these guys play. And punk bands thrive there. There's another place here called the Power Plant, which is just perfect for that type of thing. It's dingy, it's dark, and there's no real good sound system, and punk bands do really well there. I've seen those guys there too, and bands like that just fucking throw the fuck down. One cool thing about this band is their name, and you wouldn't catch it right off the bat, but the name comes from The Goonies. An old 80s flick, for those of you not in the know. It's about a bunch of kids who go in search of treasure. Anyway, the name comes from one of the characters, Mama Fratelli, who says, "Follow those size 5s!" And I thought that was fucking cool. I caught it only after they told me about it, and then I was like, duh. Now these guys are super fun to watch. The music matches the tone of their shows, and they're super fun to watch because they're not really what you'd expect. I mean, you got one guy who's very mustachioed, who's the bass player, and just it's a little bit off-putting. And then the singer Juan is kind of always dressed, a little bit nicer. Let me look at that. He's wearing a damn suit. That's what he does. It's very unexpected to watch these guys. A lot of fun. And they tend to stick around the Wisconsin scene. I'm pretty sure they've gotten, the surrounding states, but they tend to stick around Milwaukee and the Wisconsin scene. Not a problem with that, especially when the underground scene here is thriving when it comes to punk music. And it's in that regard that I can tell you that they have several shows coming up, and if you're in the area, definitely check them out. They have it, and they have an EP out. It's a self-titled EP, and you can pick it up on their Bandcamp page, but you can also pick it up at their shows. So I highly recommend that you do that. Otherwise than that, you can check them out on Facebook. So here's an interesting band that I can only describe as balls out, more like freely breathing vajayjay. And that's because they are called Tiger Sex, and you'll see why. Now, you're not going to be able to tell much from the video, but this band is very just balls out. They started a couple years ago, and if you check out their video, you can definitely tell that they are of the free-moving, free-flowing punk scene. And I dig that. It's very much, the sound reminds me very much of the Wendy O. Williams kind of punk style, or the Distillers actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And the look definitely reminds me of Wendy O. Williams. If you've ever heard the song Butcher Baby, which by the way is where the Butcher Babies got their name, and their original look. If you ever heard the song Butcher Baby, you'll know what I'm talking about. Just that very kind of brash, punk music. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, it almost kind of reminds me of Patti Smith. If you've ever heard the song Rock and Roll Nigger, That's Patti Smith, the original version, not the Marilyn Manson or the American Head Charge version. Patti Smith did it originally, and she did it a long time before everybody else did. And if you listen to Patti Smith, you'll definitely get what I'm going for. Now, they used to be from Vegas, but they've since moved to, I think, fucking Ohio, which Dave Chappelle did a long time ago. For some reason, there's something about Ohio. With that in mind, they do tend to tour quite a lot. They're on tour right now, so definitely catch them out there if they're coming to your town. I think they'll be out for a couple of weeks. If you can't catch them on tour, definitely check out their website. It's tigersex.info. You can also check out their Bandcamp and their Facebook page. Do check them out. Segway! Humping the middle of the show is another band that I found on Bandcamp, just sort of scrolling through. And to me, they are a bad fucking ass reminder that hardcore punk can just be really, really fun to listen to. And with that, from the UK, I give you Pizza Tramp.
The back fucking foot! Give me pills and the self-medication! Give me a note about self-identification!
Humping. It's also Wednesday when I'm filming this, so it's hump day. Now, in their own words, they are a three-piece, three-chord skate punk band from South Wales. That's in the UK. I fucking love any band that can identify their music that specifically, and I fucking love that shit. Now, I have written down here that their sound reminds me of like Supertramp, but now that I'm actually thinking about it, it also reminds me of old Dead Boys, if you remember who they are, and The Clash. And I really, really dig bands like that where it's just like, I know I can't sing, but I can fucking rock your ass. I dig that shit. Now, they started in 2014, and they literally have toured all over the UK a lot. And I mean a lot. They're actually going to be doing it very, very soon again. And I'm reasonably sure they don't list any of the old events. I'm reasonably sure they've gotten to some of the Europe, the mainland Europe. And I wish that they jumped upon, because I, for one, would love to fucking see these guys. They throw the fuck down. They've got 4 full-length albums and 1 EP. The current full-length album is called Revenge of the Bangertronic Dan. I know saying it in America probably doesn't sound nearly as cool as in Welsh, but fuck it. And you can pick it up on their Bandcamp, and you can also check their stuff out on Facebook. Check them out. The next band I'm going to talk about is a weird sort of punkish band with an equally odd name. Put simply, they are a band called Awake But Still in Bed. All one word. Now these guys are just kind of, I count them as punk because they definitely have that punkish kind of sound. They're an indie punk band from San Jose, California. They got their start just last year in 2017, and with that, they've managed to do some pretty good shows under their belt, which is pretty cool. And you'll notice that they have a woman singing for them, which I think is pretty cool. You don't get a whole lot of girl punk, and definitely a cool addition to this particular episode. Now, the girl they have singing for them kind of reminds me of like Jack Off Jill, if you have ever heard of those guys. Kind of an old school punk band, but not like overtly so. She's got kind of that little screech in her voice whenever she does the yelling thing. Very cool stuff. I like it a lot. Like I said before, you know, they've only been together for a very short time, but these guys are playing out all the time, and I can respect the hell out of that. Even in California, where the punk scene is sort of overruled by new school punk. They're doing it, and they're doing it pretty damn well. I love this song that you're listening to. I have to hold my script up for this because their current album is just like their band name, it's long. So, their current album is What People Call Low Self-Esteem is Really Just Seeing Yourself the Way Other People See You. Now, self-realization or not, that's a long fucking title. It's it's almost as long as that old Fiona Apple album, but let's not talk about that. One cool thing is they are traveling in March. They are traveling all the way from fucking California to Texas to play at South by Southwest, which is no joke. And they're not playing some stupid off-the-street venue either. Very cool. Congratulations. Now, just like everybody else, you can catch them on Facebook. And you can also catch their music the way I found it, which is on Bandcamp. Definitely check them out.
Segway!
Quite simply, this is a horror punk band called the Graveslaves. The Graveslaves, a 4-piece horror punk band from Orange County, California. Now here's what I don't get. Orange County has tons of cities, not the least of which is Anaheim, Orange, a bunch of other cities. Why just list the county you're from? I don't just, there aren't bands from Mequon, there aren't bands from West Dallas that list themselves as Milwaukee County. They say West Dallas, Wisconsin, even though, well, they probably just say Milwaukee. At any rate, they started in 2005, and they have done some interesting stuff. One cool thing about this band is that their bass player plays, as you can see, kind of a neat looking thing. He's got sort of this, he's got a stand-up bass which they painted white, and it's got the name on the back. And one really cool thing about that is he's got that little slap playing going on, which reminds me of like bluegrass. And this band is no less unique because they're basically like, kind of like Johnny Cash mixed with some Elvis and just that tiny bit of Volbeat, enough so that it's, it's a little bit more mainstream to listen to, and it's really fun all around just to listen to, if nothing else for that stand-up bass. But the singer's got that sort of that Glenn Danzig thing going on about him. So they've got the Elvis, the Johnny Cash, and the Volbeat, but with ghost paint. Totally cool. One cool place that these guys have actually managed to get to, and not many punk bands do this, not many bands, period, do this. These guys have played in Mexico, and they're gearing up to go back again really soon. Very cool. Now, their current album is called Rolling with the Dead. You can find it on their Bandcamp, but I also definitely recommend that you check them out on Facebook. Check them out. That's all the time we got on this episode of The Underground Bunker. Once again, I invite you to like and subscribe. You guys know how this works. It's fucking YouTube. It's been around, it's been around for like 15 years now. Can you believe that? Sweet. No. My cats, I swear to God. Anyway, so, you know how this works. I invite you to check out all the bands below. Check out all the links below. Every single link is worth your time. Definitely check out the Spotify playlist, which is, it's got to be a day and a half long as far as minutes goes. Check it out. Definitely worth your time. And if you have 54 spare minutes, please check out The Toxic Dream. It's my personal project, and I've been working on it for some time. I think you'd like it. I will leave you with this remark. With the weather warming up, there is absolutely no excuse not to get out and have some fun. And what better fun than having some fun at a fucking concert? And I highly recommend you do just that. I'm Hobbes. I'm out.